So you are with the Border Patrol?
USBorderGuard.com. We're totally privately funded. All volunteers.
Really? I thought you were, the badge looked like it was, you were part of the government or something.
Well, all citizens are part of the government.
I understand.
They work for us.
No, I understand. Yeah, they're the public servants.
I know what you're saying.
These are the public servants right here. Public servants, the people. Public servants, people. And so your organization is called what?
USBorderGuard.com.
Okay, and can you tell me your name, or is that, or your handle or something, or what?
You know what? I'm the patrol leader of it.
Okay. Well, I'm Morpheus. So okay, what's your handle?
JT.
JT. Cool.
Yeah.
And so, what is your
main stance today?
Yes. Yes.
Well, we're exercising our Second Amendment right.
I love it.
Everybody can have a First Amendment right. So what we want to drive home today is that regardless of different beliefs, that the moment we give up our Second Amendment right, that's when tyrants can come in. That's when the big boys with guns can sweep through and take anybody's rights away.
Right.
So that's why we're standing out here today. That's our primary focus. The secondary focus is that there's 60,000 dead in northern Mexico from guns that our government provided, from training to the Los Zetas from our government, which also includes Los Zetas. So why is that? So we're calling attention to that as well. We're having Americans killed and Mexicans killed. We really should be working with our neighbors, not against them.
Right.
So that's our second focus, because that's what we do every day.
Okay.
But our main focus out here is because we want to exercise those rights.
Right, and we have to be protected against the public servants.
That's why we're facing this way, except for we got security guys that
right, I love it. I think this is awesome, man. You guys really rock, man.
We put our back to everybody back here because we're trusting everybody behind us to be peaceful. Doesn't matter if we agree or disagree.
Right.
That's what our rights are about.
So
we're not Wall Street bankers, let's put it that way.
What? Are you prepared to do anything here today?
That's what we're trained for.
Okay.
So everybody out here is part of a squad that's fully trained to use justified use of deadly force. That's important to know. We're not cowboys out here causing a problem.
I understand.
As you can see, it's all peaceful.
Yes, exactly,
and
but you never know.
We want to demonstrate to other folks too that you can do this peacefully, and that the more people that do it, the more you exercise that First Amendment, you add teeth to it with the Second Amendment, that'll keep the government from ever taking away our First Amendment rights.
Right. So are you familiar with Oath Keepers and Stewart Rhodes?
We've met some of those folks, yeah.
Okay. And do you have any feelings about the...
I think it's part of the First and Second Amendment too, and veterans. I'm a veteran. He's a Vietnam veteran. We got several veterans out here.
Okay, well I just invite you to check out the Oath Keepers.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, oathkeepers.org.
I've met some of the guys.
Stewart Rhodes is a good friend of mine.
Yeah, I'll be glad to check it out.
Yeah, it's about making sure these guys here know that they take an oath to the Constitution and not to
foreign and domestic. That's what I swore into.
Right.
And you know, another thing that I remind veterans of every day was that when we took that oath, it was for life. It didn't say 5 years after you get out, 10 years after you get out, you burn the Constitution. No, that's a lifetime commitment.
Right.
Whether you're a civilian now or not.
Okay. Well, here, I'm going to give you something. I don't normally give anything away, but I'm going to give you a Constitution. It's got a Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and a Citizen's Rule Book.
Okay.
It talks about jury nullification in there.
Okay.
You're familiar with jury nullification?
FIJA, yep.
Yeah, so that's what
We're
that's...
pretty well acquainted on constitutional issues.
So that might be...
Yeah, if this is mine?
Yeah, no, I'm giving that's to you.
Thank you.
And this was actually, there's an organization I'd like to share with you, I think it's on the inside, JT. It's called the Republic of Arizona.
Okay.
And I'm part of the Republic. We have restored the Republic according to
We're not a democracy, and that's the thing people have to understand, because if you got a good speaker out here that could vote away all of our rights, they could trick the people like they did in Greece.
And money. Because these things right here, this is all counterfeit money.
It's fiat money.
This is counterfeit.
Fiat.
Well, yeah, but check it out. See, that says $1. Right, but let me show you a real dollar.
Silver certificate?
Well, I got that too, but yeah, I have one here. Whoops, let's see if I can get it. You see what it says on the bottom?
$1.
Yeah, but on the very bottom, right there, at the very bottom, what does that say?
Payable banker on demand.
In silver. In silver. This law, the Coinage Act of 1792, that said that all debts, what it defined what a dollar is, and a dollar is 371.25 grains of silver, and that law has never been repealed.
That's an actual piece of silver right there. It's not backed up by that.
Which one is it? Silver. There you go. American Precious Metals Exchange.
It's real silver.
Yeah. Here you go. This is one from Morgan.
There you go.
This is 371.25 grains of silver.
And that's why we tell people that this is all a sham going on.
Right, right. It's all, yeah.
Taking away our freedoms.
Yeah, no, they've hijacked the money. I mean, I've just proven to you that the money that they are passing out is fraud. It's fraud. It's This is counterfeit.
We would go to jail for doing the same.
This is counterfeit. The dollar that I showed you that had the silver certificate, that's saying, hey, you can take this piece of paper and exchange it for something of value, which is silver.
Well, and that's why they had the Fast and Furious, was to take away our rights, so they could say that private weapons were falling in the hands of cartel, which was untrue. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that were giving it to them.
So do you have an opinion on what needs to be done as a result of that?
They need to be held accountable for high treason.
Treason,
and the punishment's already set forth. I don't need to say it.
Right.
It's already on the books.
Right, I know.
And if people that committed treason and were tried by a jury of our peers, were properly punished the way the law says, I don't think you'd have too much treason after that.
Right. It would end the problem.
Absolutely. And it seems like a harsh measure, but it's not. It's
well, if you're in the government, you need to be held to an even higher standard.
No, absolutely. And that's the other thing. Like you said, they do work for us.
Right.
That's what people have failed to realize. You know, it's like I told the guys when we come down here, we're not asking permission to be here.
Right.
We are here. That's
right.
It.
We don't need permission.
We don't ask it. Usually, if people are carefully listening to their rights, it's always a suggestion. Do you mind if I search your car?
Right.
Well, we would like you guys to take your guns back to the car. Well, I appreciate that, but we're going to go ahead and exercise our rights. Mm-hmm. And here we are. We're proving it. And if we can prove this today, then other people can replicate that. That's how we'll stay free.
Got
regardless of your beliefs.
Excellent.
Good to go, man.
Pound it.
Cool.
Boom. Thank you very much, man.
Locked on, man. Contact us on that website, and then we'll definitely do some more interviews, and we'll research some of those organizations.
Yeah. You guys are here in Phoenix, I guess?
We're across the country.
But I mean, are you from Phoenix?
We have some people up here. It's mainly Pinell County, but we have some people up here too.
Okay, but so your home is not is your home Arizona?
Arizona. Yes.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Well, JT, man, I really appreciate it.
And we support everybody back here, their rights. That's what it's about.
Right.
And a lot of people who preach tolerance and diversity are some of the most hateful ones. We don't even pay attention to that. We say you have the right to disagree. Mm-hmm. That's what it's about.
Cool. Awesome. Excellent.
Cool.
Thank you.
The shock value shows just how far we've allowed our rights to be taken away.
Right. Excuse me. Can I just back up just a little bit more? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, every one of you. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is what we need. This is exactly what we need. Right. Exactly. This is exactly what need to have. Protect yourself against government tyranny. Get your V mask. The government is at war with you. The government has declared war against you. Protect yourself against a criminal organization. The government is a criminal organization.
And let's harass you a little bit.
Government is a criminal organization. Can I go through? Yeah. Thank you. Government is a criminal organization.
Police are continuing to try to sort out a mass shooting, what appears to be a multiple victim homicide and suicide with ties to a very dark side of American politics. Police say they believe that the shooter is this man, J.T. Reddy, one of the country's most visible neo-Nazis and most vocal anti-immigrant provocateurs. Police investigators say they are working from the theory that Mr. Reddy put on body armor. He entered the home in Gilbert where he lived. He killed his girlfriend, his girlfriend's adult daughter, the daughter's boyfriend, and the daughter's 16-month-old infant child before turning the gun on himself and committing suicide.
The first call came in at 1:08 that tragic afternoon. It was made by Lisa Medeiros, the girlfriend of J.T. Reddy.
I need a police officer to come to 530 West Tumbleweed Road.
What's the address?
530 West Tumbleweed Road.
What's the street name one more time, ma'am?
Tumbleweed.
Tumbleweed?
Mm-hmm.
530 West Tumbleweed Road in Gilbert?
Yes.
Okay. What do you need assistance with, ma'am?
Domestic violence. He's going a blist in the house, and he's ruined the freaking garage door, and
Who is he, your husband? Are you speaking about your husband, ma'am?
That boyfriend.
What is it that he's doing? What is it he's doing, ma'am?
Oh my God! He's right.
Today we bring you the story of a group seeking resolutions to America's woes, and we'll shed light on a story of a man who some feel was set up by the government to silence him from speaking out to the American people about the loss of our freedom. His name is Schaefer Cox, an American political activist and founder of the Alaska Peacemakers Militia. In 2011, the 26-year-old Schaefer was arrested allegedly for involvement in a plot to kill and kidnap state troopers and local judges.
Revolutions are not instigated, they are provoked, okay? And I will not bow the knee to Caesar. I will never buckle. I will never kiss their ring. And there are thousands more that will die, not for me, but for the principle. Because to violate that principle is to violate every one of us.
You start looking around at people that subscribe to that sovereignty movement, they don't last very long. Most of them end up dead.
In Fairbanks, we can have everybody who has anything to do with tyranny dead in one night.
They surrounded me and the other kids and had guns pointed at us.
They knew that the only people in that house were women and children.
And my kids are terrified and I have no idea what's going on.
Bill pulls out a knife, grabs him and puts it up to his throat, and he says, if you say one more word, I'll kill you, I'll cut your throat.
Everything that they charged him with is ridiculous because they never proved it.
He conspired to murder U.S. Marshals. One's from Colorado. That didn't exist.
There was no victim. I don't know how you can murder somebody without having a victim named. There was no plan, 241 plan. There was no plan.
They didn't have a case. They created one.
If the government wants you guilty, they will make you guilty. And that's what happened in this case.
The only people that they ever catch is people they create. Voila. So let's create a criminal. They thought Bill would sew this thing up. But the problem is they didn't take into consideration Aaron Bennett. So Bill comes up here to sew this thing up in one slammo whammo. Schaefer Cox is going to go to jail for the rest of his life for making a plan to kidnap federal judges. And of course they would have set that in motion to get it all the way up to the point where they almost do it and they would have arrested us, right? Typical FBI sting. They create the criminal, make the arrest, and take all the credit.
There's one. Oh, that's them. I mean, check those sexy things out. They are sweet.
This is just like the movies where the drug dealer says, "This is not what I ordered." Just like the movies.
Not one thing that Bill did or said, all that scrambling Bill did, not one thing was effectual in the fact that anybody went to jail. Nothing. The guy's a really, really bad informant. The FBI the whole time used the excuse that they didn't have to follow the Constitution. The state filed all the original charges, they dropped them all because they said that everything was taken illegally. All the recordings, everything, and the Fed came and picked it up immediately and pressed charges, and they said that they didn't have to follow any of those rules because of the Patriot Act.
We've got someone coming up on us here.
This guy.
I don't know.
How we doing?
What are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Come on. Hold on much, we're just waiting to meet a guy here. Yeah, that's his truck over there. Oh. Well, the reason I'm here is there's a whole line of guys out there with bulletproof vests on. They're all looking in here. Like that guy. Get out!
I just remember it was a crazy morning, and Went and picked my daughter up at preschool and coming home, and it was probably around 2, a little after 2. And I remember thinking it was really weird that I hadn't heard from Coleman, you know, because he usually called me periodically throughout the day just to check in and say hi and that sort of thing. And pulled in the driveway, came in the house, and the phone rang. And I came over to the kitchen table, and as I answered the phone, I looked out this window, and I just saw these men in black with these big old guns coming towards the house, and the guy on the other line's telling me this is the FBI, and I just thought, what?
May went down to Anchorage for medical reasons, and we got a phone call in our room, Dad, they're coming in.
It was Rachel.
That was Rachel. And I guess they were about to knock the door down.
I had my hand on the doorknob, and they're trying to kick my door in, and I'm telling them, don't kick my door in. You know, I was right there to let them come in the house, and they came in the house, and they must have come in other doors. I don't remember. It was very surreal, and it all happened very quick.
We were both scared. I had an operation the next morning, and I told Bill, let's just go home. You know, what can we do? I mean, it just sounded so awful, and we felt so helpless because we were out of town, and there was really nothing we could do but pray.
I was pregnant. I had 2 of my kids with me. The other 2 were at school, and they came in, and you know, they told me that I needed to cooperate so that we didn't have another Ruby Ridge. They surrounded me and the other kids and had guns pointed at us and pushed us up against a fireplace and had us all surrounded with their guns pointed at us, and my kids are terrified, and I have no idea what's going on.
And they knew that the only people in that house were women and children, because they already had the bad guys, right? They had them in custody, and they stormed that house, and those kids still have nightmares about that.
The amazing thing is that they decided not to plea out because they thought they had a really good case, which they did. The state came back to them, prosecution, and said, look, if you don't plead out, we're going to charge Coleman Barty and Schaefer Cox with conspiracy to murder U.S. Marshals. And it was laughable. They were like, okay, why don't you go ahead and charge us with that? And they did. They charged him with conspiracy to murder U.S. Marshals that didn't exist. From here on out, everything's weird.
So I just got off the phone, and you're going to need to hear this next clip to believe it. I called the Marion prison, the federal prison where they're holding Schaefer Cox, who's a patriot political prisoner who didn't do anything wrong. He didn't hurt anybody. He didn't commit any crimes. He simply spoke out against the system and tried to rally people to stand against corrupt government. And they railroaded him in a kangaroo court and locked him away. Well, they just moved Schaefer into a CMU in Marion Prison. Now, a CMU is like an isolation experimental thing that they do. It's only in a couple federal prisons, and basically they lock people away just arbitrarily because they want to, in these isolated areas where they can't access proper legal representation, they can't contact people except for under extremely limited circumstances, they can't have any physical contact with visiting friends or family like they can in the normal situation of the prison. And so here's this CMU that they've just thrown Schaefer Cox, the patriot political prisoner. In fact, these are known for housing political prisoners that are speech advocates or activists so that they can shut them down. The goal is to keep them from speaking out, telling the truth, and communicating with the outside world. Listen to what happened when I just called Marion Prison to question why they locked Schaefer away in the communications management unit.
Is this call in reference to an inmate?
Yeah, are you the guy I just talked to?
No.
Okay, well, whoever I just talked to told me to F off and hang up. And I don't appreciate you guys behaving that way.
Okay, is this call in reference to an inmate, sir?
Yeah, it is in reference to an inmate. I want to know why Schaefer Cox is in the CMU.
I cannot answer that, sir.
Why can't you answer that?
Because it's not public knowledge.
So you don't pay any attention to who's being abused in your prison? You don't do anything about your fellow man getting getting abused with no due process. You just kind of ignore it for a paycheck. Is that what this is about?
We do not put the inmate there, sir. He puts himself there.
Don't give me that garbage. The inmate is a political prisoner. He didn't do anything to put himself there. You guys just put him there so you could keep him quiet and so you could isolate him because you're running a concentration camp just like the Germans in the 1940s.
Can I help you with any other questions, sir?
Yeah, I want Schaefer Cox out of the CMU. I want you to quit making excuses. I want you to start loving your neighbor as yourself and quit being a tyrant. Quit working for terrorists.
I cannot authorize that, sir.
Well, maybe you better. Who can authorize that? Let's ask that question.
Washington, D.C.
What's that?
Washington, D.C.
So Washington, D.C. gave the order to put him in the CMU.
Yes.
Who in Washington, D.C.?
I have no idea.
So people call and give you orders and you enforce those orders, but you have no idea who?
Yeah, I wasn't here when he was put in there, sir.
And so there's no record of this. There's no paperwork. There's no due process.
No.
Do you sleep at night realizing who you work for and that you just abuse people on a whim?
We're not abusing him, sir.
You're not abusing him, but you're locking him away from any contact with the outside world without any due process just because some bureaucrat in D.C. told you to because they don't like him?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You just said on a recording, because this call is being recorded, that D.C. told you to do that.
Okay, maybe I said that.
So doesn't that have a conflict with your conscience? Are you okay with just punishing people for no reason?
I'm paid to do my job.
What about when your job says to put people in gas chambers or kill innocent children? Then what? Are you just doing your job?
We do not have a gas chamber anymore, sir.
You used to have a gas chamber?
No, we've never had one here.
Do some prisons have one?
No. No federal prison has a gas chamber.
Uh-huh. So what about if they install one? Are you going to keep doing your job then, or are you going to say no more? Where do you draw the line morally, sir, for doing what's right?
Keep paying me, I'll keep doing my job, sir.
What's that?
As long as they keep paying me, I'll keep doing my job.
Do you realize the statement you're making? I mean, that's akin to saying, that you're going to murder people for money.
I'm not murdering anybody, sir.
What if your job becomes to kill people?
My job will not become to kill people because I'm not authorized to do that.
What if they authorize you to do that?
Okay, sir, I got to go. I got a lot of phone calls.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot more phone calls because this is ridiculous. You guys get Schaefer Cox out of the CMU. There's no reason for him to be there. You need to step up and be a man instead of being a coward. You need to step up and stand up for what this country's founded on, for the Constitution, and stop being part to the persecution of people.
You ought to read The Fourth Reich of the Rich to see how a lot of this ties together. John D. Rockefeller was very influential in using his money to ensure that the American school system became communistic, humanistic. Okay? Now listen, folks, I love my country, but I fear my government. And you better too. Here are the communist rules for revolution. Rule number 1, corrupt the young, get them away from religion. Rule number 2, break down the moral virtues. Rule number 3, encourage a soft government attitude toward crime. Number 4, divide the people into hostile groups. Number 5, get the people's minds off their government. Focus their attention on athletics or sex. Did you know in 1896 there were only 311 athletes in the Olympics? 100 years later there were 13,000 athletes in the Olympics. How many channels on TV now are devoted to athletics? How much money is spent in America on sports? If you consider all things involved, transportation to and from, buying the property, building the buildings. Folks, it's many, many, many billions and billions of dollars. So somebody can knock a ball into a hole in the dirt. Athletics has taken over our thinking process. Here's an advertisement for a 50-inch TV. It says, football is a religion. Build a nice church. Rule number 6, get control of all the media, like CNN, the Communist News Network. Rockefeller, international billionaire, humanist, CFR kingpin, and founder of the Trilateralist Commission, world order godfather, and in all probability the high school graduate voted most likely to be hanged for treason, voiced his praise of the controlled U.S. media for keeping their oath not to divulge the globalist plans to the public. Speaking to his fellow conspirators at a meeting in 1991 in Baden, Germany, one of the more infamous world order group, the Bilderbergers, Rockefeller said, "We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years." In other words, they're having these meetings to determine world events. The news media is there, but they don't report to us what really goes on in those meetings. Because the average person shouldn't know what these guys are planning. They're making plans for a one-world government. He went on to explain, it would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subjected to the lights of publicity during those years. But the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government. The supranational, that means above the national sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers, is surely more preferable to the national autodeterminism practiced in past centuries. Richard Cohen of CBS said, "We are going to impose our agenda on the coverage by dealing with issues and subjects we choose to deal with." Remember when O.J. Simpson was on the news for almost a year? This was done intentionally to divert our attention away from the fact with what was happening with China being given the port in Los Angeles. Chinagate was going on. They didn't want us to know about that, so they focused our attention on O.J. Simpson. Somebody said he's getting married again. Who wants to take another stab at it? Oh. Richard Salent, the former president of CBS News, said, "Our job is to give the people not what they want, but what we decide they ought to have." New York Times is deliberately pitched to the liberal, read that, socialist, point of view. Said the foreign editor of the New York Times, he ought to know. News reporters are certainly liberal and left of center. Walter Cronkite's one of the best of them, as far as left as you can get, okay? By the way, opposite of right is not left. Opposite of right is wrong. Okay. The news media in general are liberals, okay? Number 7, destroy people's faith in their leaders. Stalin is attributed with this statement. He said, "Those who cast the votes decide nothing. Those who count the votes decide everything." The last election ought to tell us something about that, right? Number 8, cause the registration of all firearms so that you can eventually confiscate them. Lenin said, "One person with a gun can control 100 people without one." Now picture this. You're standing there in the bank to cash a check. Somebody walks in and holds up a gun and says, "Everybody lay on the floor." Everybody lays on the floor. Now picture this. Every red-blooded, honest, God-fearing American citizen is packing a gun. He's not looking for trouble. He just has a gun, just in case, you know. The guy walks into the bank, pulls out a gun. Everybody lay on the floor. Instantly, 80 guns are pointed at him. No, sir, you lay on the floor. Gun control is not about guns, it's about control. Every dictator has wanted gun control. Lenin wanted it, Stalin wanted it, Hitler wanted it. See, the one who has the gun is in control, and this goes back to the "ye shall be as gods." You know, you are the boss. Goes right back to that, folks, okay? Don Boys, good friend of mine, said gun control is not about guns, but control. Don said, "You might be a liberal if you don't trust honest Americans with automatic weapons, but you do trust the government with them. You might be a liberal if you think guns are the cause of crime, but you don't think matches are the cause of arson. You might be a liberal if you think death penalty is government-sanctioned killing, but you don't think a prison sentence is government-sanctioned kidnapping." I like this guy's thinking, okay? Our founding fathers gave us the Second Amendment, which says, "A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." They gave us a Second Amendment so we could protect ourselves in case the government went bad. That's what it's for. See, the bad guys are not afraid of a few hundred people with guns. But if everybody's armed, it's going to be hard to take over a country if they know everybody's armed. Now, I told you in the other session that a lot of animals that eat grass have horns. You don't need horns to eat grass. You need horns as an education tool to educate the lion to stay off your back so you can eat the grass. That's what the horns are for, right? If the lions held a conference to outlaw horns on animals, they said it was dangerous to allow these untrained animals to have such dangerous weapons. They cited several examples where some animals had been accidentally been harmed by horns. You know, I bet if the lions could vote, they would vote that nobody should be allowed to have horns, wouldn't they? I bet they would. That's what happened when the guys got shot in Colorado. Liberal news media right away jumped on the gun control issue, and we covered all that earlier. And the issue is not about guns, folks. The real issue is, should we have public schools, okay? Should we teach those kids evolution? And that's what happened in Colorado, okay? Hitler said, at least this is one quote I've not been able to prove, but I've had several folks tell me it's true, but I can't find it yet. He said, this year will go down in history. For the first time, a civilized nation had full gun registration. Our streets will be safer, our police more efficient, and the world will follow our lead into the future. Janet Reno said gun registration is not enough. Waiting periods are only a step. Registration is only a step. The prohibition of private firearms is the goal. Ohio Senator Metzenbaum said, what good does it do to ban some guns? All guns should be banned. Sarah Brady of the Brady Bill said, our task of creating a socialist America can only succeed when those who would resist have been totally disarmed. Bill Clinton said, and we should. Every community in the country could then start doing major weapons sweeps and then destroying the weapons, not selling them. And I misspelled his name on purpose to give it the Soviet flavor, okay? Did you know in the first 12 months after gun owners in Australia were forced to surrender 640,000 guns to the government, they destroyed them. The program cost the government $500 million. Well, after that happened, in the first 12 months, homicides nationwide were up 3.2%. Assaults went up 8.6%. Armed robberies went up 44%. In the state of Victoria, homicides with firearms are up 300%. Figures over the previous 25 years show a steady decrease in armed robbery with firearms. There's also been a dramatic increase in break-ins and assaults of the elderly. In 1911, Turkey established gun control. Later, 1.5 million Armenians, unable to defend themselves, were slaughtered. In 1929, the Soviet Union established gun control, and for the next 30 years, 20 million dissidents, unable to defend themselves, were rounded up and slaughtered. 1938, Nazi gun control said Jews are prohibited from carrying firearms and ammunition. They established gun control in 1938, and for the next 6 years, at least 13 million Jews and others were rounded up and exterminated because they were unable to defend themselves, okay? China established gun control in 1935, and for the next 10 years, 20 million political dissidents unable to defend themselves were exterminated. Guatemala established gun control in 1964. In the next 15 years, 100,000 Mayan Indians unable to defend themselves were exterminated, killed, murdered. Uganda established gun control in 1970. For the next 8 years, 300,000 Christians were murdered because they were unable to defend themselves. Cambodia established gun control in 1956. And from 75 to 77, 1 million educated people, maybe more, unable to defend themselves, were rounded up and exterminated. Defenseless people around the country, around the world, exterminated in the 20th century, about 56 million. Next time someone talks in favor of gun control, ask them, who do you want to round up and exterminate? See, with guns we are citizens, without guns we are subjects. Well said, Mr. Bracken. In 1982, the town of Kennesaw, Georgia, passed a law requiring all able adults, except convicts or conscientious objectors, to have a gun. You had to have a gun in Kennesaw, Georgia. They've had only one murder from an out-of-state criminal with a gun and have had no increase in crime or violence in 12 years. I mean, if you're a criminal, you're going to go to a place like that? One of the major chains like AutoZone, it wasn't AutoZone, but one of the major auto parts chains, the government, their leader said, we're going to have a rule, no guns allowed in our stores. So they sent out a memo, everybody post a note on your store, no guns allowed. What does that say to a criminal? Rob me. Isn't that what it says? Do you think that criminal's going to obey your sign? I can see it now. He's standing there holding the gun on the counter, on the guy behind the counter. The guy says, hey, can't you read that sign out there? Hello? The plan is very simple. You create a crisis, like blow up the Reichstag like Hitler did, or blow up the Muir building like our government did, to get people to accept your solution, which is more anti-terrorist laws and gun control. And if you think Timothy McVeigh blew up the Oklahoma City building, you are really duped. Okay? A long story behind that. The communist definition of peace is the absence of resistance.